In this exercise, let's learn about margin collapse. As you have seen, padding is space added inside an element's border, while margin is space added outside an element's border. One additional difference is that top and bottom margins, also called vertical margins, collapse while top and bottom padding does not. Horizontal margins, left and right, like padding, are always displayed and added together. For example, if two divs with IDs div1 and div2 are next to each other, they will be as far apart as the sum of their adjacent margins. Let's see in the example above. So right here, the space between the image 1, so this element, and image 2 borders is 40 pixels. The right margin of image 1 is 20 pixels and the left margin of image 2 is 20 pixels. And those two are 40 pixels in total, so 20 plus 20. And this is very important. Unlike horizontal margins, vertical margins do not add. Instead, the larger of the two vertical margins sets the distance between adjacent elements. So image 1, image 2 elements. Let's see. In this example, the vertical margin between the image 1 and image 2 elements is 30 pixels. So this is the space between these two elements. Although the sum of the margins is 50 pixels, the margin collapses, so the spacing is only dependent on the image 1 bottom margin. So the browser takes the larger margin. It may be helpful to think of collapsing vertical margins as a short person trying to push a taller person. The tall person has longer arms and can easily push the short person, while the person with short arms cannot reach the person with long arms. Okay, let's see the instructions. Study the graphic display to the right. Elements A and B have 20 pixels of horizontal margin, the sum of each element's margin. Elements A and C have 30 pixels of vertical margin, the top margin of element C. Let me see. So element A has margin of 10 pixels on all sides. Element B has margin of 10 pixels on all sides too. And we have the element C, which has top and bottom margin of 30 pixels and right and left of 10 pixels. So element A, let's start with the element A. On top we have 10 pixels space. Right, we have 20 because we have 10 pixels of element A and element B. On the bottom we have 30 pixels because, like we said, vertical margins doesn't sum up and the browser takes the larger margin. In this case, it is 30 pixels of element C, and that's why we have the space of 30 pixels right here. 10 pixels on the right side, 10 pixels on the left side, 30 pixels on the bottom, and element B has top, bottom, and right of 10 pixels. So once again, element A has margins of 10 pixels on all sides, element B the same. On the browser, when the page is rendered, element A will have top, bottom, left of 10 pixels, but on the right it will have 20 pixels because the element B also has on the left 10 pixels, so margin right of the element A and margin left of the element B of 10 pixels are equal 20 pixels in total. The rest of margins are the same, and element C has top and bottom of 30 pixels and left and right of 10 pixels, so the space between C and element A and element B is 30 pixels because the vertical margins doesn't sum up and the browser selects the larger margin. In this case, it is the margin top of 30 pixels on element C, and it is larger than margin bottom on element A and element B, which is 10 pixels. And on the right and left, we have 10 pixels for the element C too. Okay, that should be all for this one. Let's proceed.